Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Andrew Kircher here with Port Huron Museums. I thought I would do kind of very much an impromptu little live tour. I had two reasons for it. Been thinking about it today. Firstly, I had about 15-20 minutes to kill, so I've got a historic district commission meeting here at Port Huron's beautiful city hall that we'll look at in just a second. But since I had about 15 minutes to kill, I thought, this would be a great chance to look at a building. Maybe people have walked down here. We could talk about it just a little bit. But another reason that really spurred me today is I ran into somebody at lunch today. My brother lives in Ann Arbor. He came home, and the two of us took my mom out for lunch today. So picked her up at the school, and while we were at lunch, we went to Culver's. But, maybe not the fanciest lunch in the whole world, but we all liked it. There was a woman who saw me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to see that you don't do those tours anymore." Made me feel kind of bad, because I do try to do them. I know I haven't done them with as much regularity. When we first started these, I was able to throw up a new one almost every single day. But that's just not the case anymore with the number of things we've got going on at the museum these days. So I try and do a live video every single week. I'd love to do more, but there's just a lot going on at the museum these days. We just counted. For example, the other day we looked, and I think we did something like 64 or 65 events in July. So that's a couple every single day. Now that counts school programs, which we're doing for summer school, but lots of other programs and events as well. So I'm always putting more out there. There's always lots going on at the museum, and with so many, it's difficult to get out here and do these tours. But I figured, what? I've got the time, I've got the inclination, and I can see at least 20 of you who are joining me today have the inclination to watch some. So if you haven't guessed where I am down right here on the water. In fact, I'm very glad that I haven't picked up Canadian reception as many people do when we're this close to the Canadian shore. But I'm standing right by the Municipal Office Center. And in fact, there's kind of the City Council chambers. That's where my meeting is going to be in about 25 minutes or so. And I figured that's not really enough time to go anywhere or do anything. And it's just so nice out. I decided it would be a great day to go on a little walk. So this is a building that I think is somewhat controversial. Some people might kind of like it. A lot of people, I think, maybe aren't thrilled with the design, and even more so, a lot of people are probably not thrilled with the location. So this area, this is Kiefer Park up in here. Of course, we've got the water treatment plant down here. This whole area has got to be some of the most highest value property in the county. We're such a beautiful view of the bridge. Obviously, the Blue Water View condos they've put up. There's the potential for a lot of property tax return, and the single biggest landowner right here is, well, the city. So I know I've heard a lot of kind of gripes about that, and even some people within the city. I'm sure some city councilmen, and women have mentioned it, that the city doesn't pay taxes to itself. So why are they taking the most valuable property? Couldn't they go somewhere else? But that's a kind of a political question. I'll stay agnostic on it, not try and come up with a direct answer or anything like that. But I think that's one of the reasons maybe this building has the reputation that it does, that maybe a lot of people aren't thrilled by it. But it is a big office building. One of the kind of neat things is it is an example of brutalist architecture. So when we hear brutalist, everybody of course thinks of the word brutal, and that's kind of got a negative connotation, but it actually comes from brutal, which in French just means unfinished, unadorned, although this isn't quite brutalism. So true brutalism would have kind of unfinished, unadorned concrete. This has kind of a finish to it. It's, when you get up close to the walls here, they almost look like, I guess, kind of a faux marble. I'm not sure how to describe this exactly, but they've got some striations and color built into it. Maybe some of my engineering friends who watch these can tell me exactly what that material is. But we can see there's a lot of it, so it's rather kind of plain in form. It's, you know, a giant rectangle. This is like something you could build out of Legos pretty easy, and a whole lot of windows. So that I mentioned, you know, it's brutalist. Brutalism in general doesn't enjoy a sterling reputation. A lot of people think that it looks very perfunctory, it looks very boring, but you know, it actually comes from a school of thought in France and from Europe, especially right after World War II, when all of World War II, when all of Europe is kind of bombed into nothing but rubble. Makes sense, you want to build a lot of buildings really fast. They had a new technology, they had this reinforced concrete, they just made a lot of bunkers with it. They're about the only thing that survives the war. Well, that gives them a great opportunity to build new buildings with. And so it really kind of catches on in the United States in the 60s and 70s. And when I say catches on, I mean some cities do it. I think Boston probably has one of the most famous, like, brutalist city halls. That is kind of similar to this, but perhaps even more stark. But seeing these like recessed windows in regular patterns, that's a very like brutalist thing. Got a top floor up there. I've been in this building many times. There is some beautiful views from inside, and that's one of the kind of the other neat things, is one of the thoughts on a style like this, especially on this side. Like when we look at this giant bank of windows, well, why? I guess the idea that, you know, an architect might ask you is, what could I design that could rival with the view here, the view of nature, the beauty of the river? So like we can see a boat going by. That's just the reflection of over here. So you get this giant kind of wall of mirrors, because what's more pretty than outside? Well, to some architects, it's nothing. So you try and you know, reflect that as much as possible. It's kind of a neat idea. You know, there's at least a rhyme to the reason of what this design is, or design idea is. So anyway, I don't know if people have been down here on the Riverwalk. It's blissfully quiet, I will actually tell you. When I came down here, I was like startled. It's kind of a calm day, so you can hear the water kind of lapping just a little bit as the current takes it south, but it's nice and quiet. There's really no sounds of traffic or the city, and so it was really relaxing. I think if I didn't do this live video, I might have even just like sat on the grass somewhere and closed my eyes for a little bit, and just, you know, a little bit of meditation, I suppose. So anyway, there's another view of you know, one of the things that's kind of funny, that top floor doesn't have, I don't think that's where the mayor's office is, or I think the city manager's office is up on the 4th floor, not all the way on the top. And it's not where the city council chambers are. Sometimes that's where you see them, you know, put like a special hall. So truth be told, I couldn't tell you exactly what's all the way on the top floor. Maybe if you work in the building, let me know. Tell me what you what's all the way up there. So we come around the side, we can see there is actually, like, not an addition, because I think it was built at the same time, but this little round building here is the meeting chambers. I shouldn't say it's just the council that meets there, because I know a number of the boards meet right up over here. So, okay, so Todd tells me Michigan Works is up at the top. So, there you go. I'm sure it was something. Somebody was up there, but just not something I knew. I know the police department is in the basement here. I'm participating in a Citizens Police Academy starting in September, so I had to come a little bit early, which is why I have this extra time. I had to go and give them my fingerprints. So that was an interesting experience. I think my favorite part was they get you to karate chop the sensor. So I guess they can fingerprint your karate chop. So if you karate chop someone, you can't even escape justice then. They'll get your karate chop print. But yeah, we see the round building on the outside, which is a real juxtaposition, the round of this building to just how rectangular the rest of the MOC is. We'll maybe take a glance at the front. It's actually quite the little hill there that one can hike up. Whew. But as we walk around, there's some nice material here. This stuff is very, very shiny, and we see a lot more use of the glass. So you can see me waving at you in all of the mirrored glass. And there's like this great big patio out front. I'm not sure exactly what the thought process was behind all of this extra space, other than we're on top of a garage, so there's more parking directly below us for the police department. There's parking over here. I don't know if when they were thinking in the 70s when they were designing this, if there would be like lots of protests out here or something. In fact, in the summer of 2020, there was kind of a large protest or a large gathering after George Floyd's murder, and they did come right to this spot. They were able to set things up, and people kind of packed in the streets all around here, so it made it kind of a natural spot. And we look up this way, we can see there's some radar and cell equipment up on the top, but otherwise, again, that kind of rather stark mirrored building on the front that reflects the rest of the view downtown, all the way down Mickmore. And of course we got the library over here, the county court building, so a lot of municipal buildings right in the same little area here. You know, the jail used to be up this way as well, but they have since moved the county jail. Lots of public artwork. I'll maybe withhold comment on the artwork. I don't know if I'm sophisticated enough to understand abstract sculpture. But Todd says the mermaid used to be right here. I bet you're thinking of like the Maid of the Lake, which is not a mermaid. She has 2 legs. Everybody thinks it's a mermaid, but go look at it. She has legs. And that's been moved further north. So again, we can see the building from over on this side. A little bit of parking right up here with the drop box so folks can play some of their municipal bills. Alright, so anyway, we got about, I only have a couple minutes left before my meeting, so I'll wrap things up here. But like I said, it was kind of an impromptu look at a building that I think is, I'll give you one more look at it right from the side here, that is maybe one of the more controversial public buildings in the city in terms of people like it, people don't like it. You know, the minimalist design, and that maybe doesn't suit a lot of people. I guess if I had my choice between this or like the city hall that burned down in 1949, I'd probably take the city hall that burned down. But I like old things, you know, I like old ornate style. It was a chateau style building, which is kind of like the opposite of this. You know, it's very complicated in its form. And you know, maybe as we walk back this way, we'll take a look, peek down in one of the things that I think is kind of neat. So one of the other things I like is the elevator shaft right here. If you ever come to the city and you want a really kind of neat view, see if you can get a chance to ride the elevator up. Make sure you get the elevator that looks out into the city, because it's a glass-walled elevator in a glass elevator shaft. What else can we see? And yeah, we can see down into like the parking structure and where the police go in, right down there. So I suppose your opinion of the building might also depend on the day. You know, if it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day with a couple clouds in the sky, well, that's going to look a lot different than if it's, you know, just kind of gray, overcast, and boring, because of the way that that is a mirrored building like that. It can really change from day to day. Unlike, you know, there are other buildings that are set in stone, so to speak, both literally and figuratively. But anywho, well, I will leave you to it. I've got actually some more formal ones of these planned. Like I said, the summer is just so busy. It's sometimes hard to work these in, but we still do them. So to the lady I talked to at Culver's today, if you're watching, you know, we are still going to do these live tours as much as possible, although we've covered so much ground. You know, sometimes it's hard to find things we haven't talked about in depth or looked at. And normally I like to do a little bit more research. You'll notice I kind of copped out of telling you exactly when this building opened, because I don't know. You know, I just started to do this kind of impromptu. I didn't look that up. So I'm sure I can find it, and I'm sure maybe somebody out there knows exactly when it opened. but I can't tell you off the top of my head. So, but hey, at least I'll fess up to it. You know, if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know. I'm not going to ever make something up or just pretend. But all right, so I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. It is a nice day outside to go on a walk or find a quiet place, or enjoy the history here in your own backyard. So until next time, I've got a meeting to go to. All right, take care.